But hello, my name is Raven, and I just really want to talk about some books, and I have nobody to talk to about these books. I mean, I could talk, but they ain't gonna understand. Like my boyfriend and my family, like they listen, they love it, but you don't get that connection that you want. So I just say fuck it. Oh, sorry. I just say let me just start and let me just try to talk to some people, even though nobody might see this or everybody might see this. That's besides the point. Hello, my name is Raven, and I want to talk about my favorite books. Like ever. The end of the year, it's December. I'm wearing my Christmassy pajama tops, even though I live in the Bahamas, 80 some degrees outside, but so I want to feel more festive. And so here I am talking about some of my favorite books that I've read in life. These books spanned from the time I was like 14, 13. I must be 24. Oh, anyway, these books spanning from the time I was about like, I want to say like 14 for sure. 14 and up until currently now as a 23-year-old girl. Yeah, I just want to talk about some books. Yeah. So the first set of books I want to talk about, they're YA, contemporary romance, because I used to be obsessed with that when I was younger, or fantasy. I still think about some of these books daily, and I still think about these characters, think about the love that I have for the books that I read now and the books that I read when I was younger. And the love's still there. No love lost at all. They're still standing the test of time. First book I want to talk about, no, let's not even start there. Let's start with Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I ate this book down. I remember reading this book when I was 15 and falling in love with Jam. Even more so with the series. That series is so pivotal in my teenage experience. I remember sitting down on a Christmas day actually and reading that series for the first time, reading Clockwork Prince, falling in love with that series. And it's the second book in the series. It does not suffer from middle book syndrome. That's one of the best to date love triangles I've ever read in my life. The characters don't fall flat, the romance is awesome, the plot and the world building is off the charts. Like, I can't think of a better fantasy series as like a younger person to recommend to teenagers, because it's so good. It's so good. I love that series. I feel like everybody kind of know what it about this one. The Infernal Devices is the prequel to the Mortal Instruments. Follows Tessa, and Tessa is an ordinary human girl, and one day she's traveling to visit her brother. I haven't read these books in years. She ends up getting kidnapped. I don't even remember what they was, witches, and that's how she ends up finding out about the whole Shadowhunter universe and coming into contact with Will and Jam and Charlotte and Henry and all of them at the Institute, and following these group of characters who we end up loving. And I love that series so much. All these books, I've rated all these books 5 out of 5 stars. Like, they get no less than 5 stars from me. Every book on this list is a 5 star. Okay, next I want to talk about Charming as a Verb by Ben Felipe. I have like a little bit of notes, a lot of notes on life. This is a black YA contemporary romance. Henry is the son of Haitian immigrant. He's also this high achieving, very popular, goes to a good school, handsome boy. So has a dog walking business, but the business basically is a scam. And so this other girl who goes to his school, her name is Corey. Corey is very high strung, perfectionist, very much type A personality. She has this image at school. She's not popular at all. Like, she's not the it girl. She ends up blackmailing Henry because she finds out about the business being a scam and fraudulent, and so she's like, well, you have to help me rebrand at school, otherwise I can expose you. And so he said, okay, I can help you. Henry also wants to go to Columbia because the American dream, pinnacle of all his family desires, the success of their son moving to this country and all that stuff. And I'm following Henry, and Henry makes a lot of poor decisions. Towards the end of the book, he not only reconciles with his own decisions, but he also reconciles with his family as well. Every time I think about some of these books, I just hold my chest, so that's just like, oh my goodness, that's so sweet, so nice. Like, everything is just so nice. Like how the book ended, I have no complaint. 10 out of 10 for me. I loved it. My next YA contemporary book is Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. I read this book in like the pandemic, I think, and I remember it was on the shelf, and I was just like, this is such an interesting title, and the cover's so interesting, so I just grabbed it. Never heard about this book, I don't know nothing about this lady, but I end up falling in love with that book. I was so shocked at how much I liked it. It's about this girl, her name is Quinn. Quinn is very particular. She has this journal that she writes everything in, all her lists, all her to-do lists, all her goals, everything about her is in this journal. Like, she writes everything in this journal. So one day the journal goes missing, and so the last person who she knew to have the journal was her. I think they was working on an assignment together. His name is Carter, and Carter ends up being the main love interest in the book, but that's besides the point. The journal goes missing. She suddenly starts receiving like these anonymous threats from this IG account, and they post snippets of her journal, and so she like trying to figure out who blackmailing her, who have her journal, and you just following her and Carter. I loved it. It was so sweet, y'all. I love black YA contemporary romance. Always be so good. If you want to smile, like if you just want to smile and just be like, oh, it's so cute. Like, I remember being young to be young and in love. She's also battling a lot of insecurity, imposter syndrome issues as well. So when you think about all that, culminating with the fact that her journal, her only place of like respite, her only comfort is missing, and that's how she processes things in her mind. That's a lot for that to be missing and somebody to be exploiting that. That was a lot. Loved it. It was so good. Cute. 5 stars. To this day, 5 stars still. Next, I want to talk about actor H. Eve Brown. Everybody in their mommy. I feel like everybody in their mommy didn't read this book, but it was so good. Grumpy Sunshine. The banter was funny. And everything about this book was just so wholesome. The book follows Eve Brown. This is the 3rd book in the Brown sisters. All the books hit for me, but Eve is like my favorite book. The book follows Eve Brown. Eve's life in shambles. Everything just a hot mess. After her last situation that she got herself into, her parents were like, we're tired of your shit. You need to get it together. Like, get your life together, get your house in order, and figure out what you can do. But Eve lost. In the process of her getting her shit together, she goes for a job interview. She meets Jacob Wynn. Jacob is literally, he's a perfectionist. He very domineering, very contained man. Everything has a particular order with him. And so when he meets this girl who come with a friggin' purple hair, he automatically is like, hell no, absolutely not. You cannot be working at my bed and breakfast. You got, just looking at you have too much going on. Long story short, ends up running him over with her car. He ends up kind of having to help him anyway because his arm is broken. Like, he can't do anything. It's just down at the bed and breakfast together, just exploring their love, and like it goes from enemies to lovers. Like, he's the only one who really despises her. She really don't. I don't think she hates him, but she just going about her day. 5 out of 5 stars. She ate with that one for real. Next, I want to talk about Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This is the 2nd book in the Twisted series. I think that's what the series is named. Oh my goodness. Not the 1st book. 1st book is not it. The 2nd book. That's so good. That's the first time I ever read like Bodyguard, a forbidden romance bodyguard book. And I love that trope. But it basically follows this princess. Yes, princess. She basically is a free spirit. She does not want to be tied down to royalty. And so she basically escapes a couple of years to go live her life. Suddenly, a couple of years later, her brother, who is in line to be king, he abdicates the throne. Like, he literally throws it on her, say, here, you have it. I don't want it no more. And so she basically is forced to come into this role that she never wanted. And so through that, she ends up obviously taking her bodyguard back home with her, and they end up falling in love and like navigating royalty and like politics, suitors who be trying to marry her and shit like that, enemies to lovers, forbidden romance, so burned. I don't know if it's Grumpy Sunshine because she wasn't really got much sunshine, but Grumpy Man, oh my goodness, Reese Larson, 10 out of 10 man. The way he speaks to her, so good. It was so good. Wow, what a life. Ooh, I want to talk about Faking with Benefits. That ate down. I was not expecting to like that. This girl, the hardest dating life ever, and she has these 3 best friends. They have like this relationship podcast. They invite her to be a segment on the relationship podcast. He teaching her how to date, how to go about finding like the love of her life. Through that, she ended up falling in love with like all 3 of them. One is an athlete, one is like the boy next door, and one her old college professor. Listen to me. I said, you got 3 other types of men in one book, and 3 men. I don't like fake dating, but this was so good. I was not expecting to like this book at all. This is an adult polyamorous romance. This is when I was in my polyamorous era. I think 2022. I was all up in and through there. That was me. But I've changed. If it's good, I can still recommend polyamorous romances. They be good. I don't like polyamorous romances when the people don't know it's a polyamorous romance. You know, like it'll be the girl, the guys don't know she have relations with these other men. I don't like that. I like when it's all consensual and we all know what's going on here. That is eat down. Next, I want to talk about Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. I talk with my hands because I'm so excited. I feel so filled. Before was Iris, and Iris has her entire life planned. No, like she knows she wants to go into like sports journalism. She has a whole life figured out, and she's dating this way smart, bumbleclad, rascalad, pussyclad man, and he don't make no sense to me. And you genuinely don't want it. You don't want anybody else to have it. Like what children do, they hoard their toys. They don't play with it, but because they see another child who's interested in it, want it, that's when they don't share, they keep it to themselves. Like that. That's what this man was doing. Iris have a good head on her shoulders. Like she just caught up with this man. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I could have just seen he did not have any good intentions for this girl. Because you come from like this NBA royalty family and you just feel entitled to her. Then you just do and say whatever you want to her. So like I feel like when she was about to leave him, like when she was finally making up her mind to leave this man, bam, pregnant, trapped by this man. She ends up staying with the man because she ends up having like all kind of medical issues during her pregnancy, and like she literally is dependent on him, and that's something she never wanted to do. She ends up staying with the man. God, my heart hurts. And like while all this is happening, she meets this other man, August West. Y'all, August is like a dreamboat. It's a bit of romance, obviously, because like her current boyfriend and August are like basketball rivals and had rivalry since high school, I think, or early college days. They been not like each other, consorting with the enemy. Why you having conversations with the enemy? It was this blossoming romance with August, and she's also in this DV situation. That some of the scenes in that book, they just, I was like, oh, I was scared. I was literally scared because I thought he was gonna kill her at one point. I was so scared. Being like loved wholly and not just for some components of you. That book was great. I read that earlier this year. 10 out of 10. Everything from Twisted Games Go Up, I read like years ago, but this, like these last 3 books, I would say, like I read them this year. This year had like so much good reads. It just was so good to me. I say thank you, God. A lot were shitty, but the ones that were really good were really, really good. I'm gonna talk about Lipsticks and Camera Clicks by DJ Murphy. This book was awesome. I was in a reading slump so bad for must be like a year and a half. I was not engaged. I did not like whatever I was reading, and this book came to me so organically. I just was on Kindle Unlimited one day and it just popped up and I just read the synopsis. I was like, okay. And then like the next day I saw someone talking about it on TikTok. I was just like, you have taste too. If I was this girl, she just came out this very awful public breakup. The media had her in shambles. She ends up going on this reality dating show, basically like The Bachelor. She's a makeup content creator. She's using the reality TV show to promote her makeup. While on the show, she ends up getting really far on the show, and The Bachelor ends up really liking her. On the flip side, also, she also has this childhood best friend, and he's the reason that she got onto the show because he's one of the producers on the show or something like that. She got a crush on him from long, like they've been childhood best friends, like she been in love with him a long time, and so she's basically in this love triangle. And ooh, it was so messy. It was so good, but it was so messy, and I loved it. I was there for every inch of that book. I also realized that at that moment I love reality TV show in books. I love TV show in books. I love movies in books. I love production of different types of media in books, whether it be YouTube, be movies, TV shows, reality TV, books in books. I really, really love that book. I think she come out with another book in the series. I don't know what it's named yet. Hold on. Yes, the second book in this series, one of my most anticipated books for next year because it was that good. I was talking about this book for weeks. I would not shut up about this. This is one of my go-to recommendations because it's so messy and it's so engaging, and the characters actually aren't annoying. Like they just have good banter and they have good chemistry. I love that. Give me a book with good chemistry and all the characters have good chemistry. This book literally is a piece of my heart. Like I love it. Anything that she publishes, I have to read it. You got me out of a reading slump, a very long reading slump. Hats off to you, ma'am. And then lastly, I read this book last month. It's called Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto. Y'all, oh my god, I was not expecting to like this book at all. This book was on my shelf for must see like couple weeks. Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto is about these two musical prodigies, like these string musical prodigies, and it's basically about them. What had happened was girl Gwen, she ended up getting this last minute performance with her best friend for a wedding, and the main guy, he's a guest at the wedding, like he's standing in the wedding. When she reaches to the wedding, like she finds out that it's not her instrument that they need her to play. They want her to play something that she's not familiar with. She plays the violin, they want her to play the cello. Even though it's similar, it's really not. She gets up there and she does a decent job. The main guy walks up to her afterwards and is like, I don't like it. Who are you? I don't like it, or something like that. Something dickish. She ends up explaining to him that, oh well, we playing in the same orchestra for the past year and he's never noticed her until like today. They end up having this whole whirlwind romance, the yearning. Bring back men who yearn. I was going friggin' crazy. I was going crazy in this book sometimes. Some of the scenes in this book had me in absolute shambles. I didn't know what to do. Bring back men who yearn. And then after that, I just ended up reading like her other book. I didn't like it as much. Vice, Eat Down. Yes, thank you, God. Like they end up having this enemies type thing, and like he can't stand her, she can't stand him type thing. They end up falling in love. Orchestra uses that. They use their relationship basically as a marketing tactic to increase sales. Alexander Zanderthorn, he's like this cello rock star. He's in a band. But this book, I think she has another book coming out next year. That is on my most anticipated too. It ate down severely. I hope I gave like a good general synopsis without spoiling too much of the book. I just get so excited talking about these books because they were actually good. Like they were actually really good. I can't think of anything to add or take away from the book. Y'all, my name is Raven. This is my booktube channel and I hope you stick around for more videos to come. Y'all in couple days or the new year, however I'm feeling. Bye. Oh my